Professor Lim San San.
Mr. Speaker, I had not originally intended to speak on the Road Traffic Amendment Bill, but life clearly had other plans for me. Last month, I was knocked down by a bus, a big lumbering double-decker to be exact. On the evening of 13th June, at about 8:15 p.m., I was crossing the road at the junction of Upper Changi Road East and Somapah Road on my way to the Singapore University of Technology and Design to meet my students. They had developed a game to educate the public about fake news and were excited to demonstrate it to me. And by the way, the game is brilliant. Coming back to me at the road junction, I had waited for the light to turn green in my favor and proceeded to walk once it did so. I assure the members of the House that at no point was I using my phone and that I was single-mindedly focused on making my way across as briskly as possible. When I was about 3/4 of the way to the other side, I suddenly felt something very large looming over me, and I turned to my left to see a double-decker about this close to me. I was stunned, and I even made eye contact with the driver and caught his horrified expression as he saw me. The next thing I knew, I had been thrown onto my back, and I felt my head hitting the road very, very hard. At that point, I literally saw stars, those in my head and those in our beautiful night sky, although I couldn't quite tell which was which. Thankfully, I did not lose consciousness, and I managed to scramble to the side of the road while the bus driver pulled over. He alighted to inquire as to my well-being, and we exchanged information. In spite of my shocked and injured state, I felt profound sympathy for the bus captain. He looked highly stressed, likely worried about the consequences of the accident. As an occasional driver myself, I certainly do not wish to be in that position. Luckily for the both of us, I walked away from the accident largely unscathed. I endured severe aching for the next few days, but fortunately did not suffer from any fractures or concussions. Indeed, I'm truly grateful that I can stand here today to deliver this speech. My accident gave me much to think about, but especially in relation to road safety. What could have caused the bus captain to completely overlook my presence on a well-lit road when traffic was light? I clearly had right of way and also had ample time to cross the junction. Was it a case of a driver whose shift was too long, or who had had insufficient days of rest? Or was it an issue of the discretionary right turns leading drivers to make a quick turn when there is no oncoming traffic, but forgetting that pedestrians too have the right of way? What exactly are the safeguards we have in place to prevent an accident like mine from recurring? Indeed, my friends remarked that had I been a child or a senior citizen, that the impact of the accident would have been that much more severe. I therefore reached out to the bus company to understand more about their safety procedures. The company was forthcoming. 2 members of its senior management met with me and addressed all my queries. They were able to account for the bus captain's years of experience, driving schedule, daily working hours, break times, and shift durations, all of which were well within the mandated industry standards. They also shared with me their company's proprietary telematics system that monitors every bus captain for every journey, tracking data such as their driving and turning speeds and instances of sudden braking. Such information helps the company determine how reckless or safety conscious their drivers are. Using such data, bus captains are effectively graded for their driving performance, and the information is conveyed to them via a mobile app so that they can regulate and modulate their own driving as necessary. After my accident, the bus captain was immediately suspended when the investigation established that he was at fault and that there were no issues with the bus. Following the suspension, he underwent a day of retraining where his driving was assessed by a supervisor before he was deemed roadworthy and returned to service. Incidentally, the telematics data revealed that he was consistently one of their safest drivers, which perhaps helps to explain why I'm still here today. As a regular public transport commuter, I'm reassured that this much attention is paid to safety. Furthermore, it is encouraging that we have harnessed technology to better guide our bus captains, helping them to maintain good safety habits and driving standards. And yet, Accidents do and will happen, and we should strive to further reduce that number. I therefore wish to delve more deeply into the issue of discretionary right-turn lanes. I'm heartened that the Land Transport Authority has concrete plans to discontinue most discretionary right-turn junctions within the next 5 years. Indeed, when I mentioned my accident to friends and acquaintances, they immediately raised the problem of discretionary right-turn junctions without my prompting. Colleagues and students who also used the junction where my accident occurred mentioned witnessing many near misses between cars and pedestrians and cars and PMD riders. Discretionary right-turn junctions are fundamentally problematic. Drivers wait anxiously in the right-turn box and make a dash for it when they note the absence of oncoming traffic, overlooking the fact that there could also be pedestrians crossing at the same time. In 2016, the Honourable Member Dr. Chia Shi Lu had inquired about accidents at right-turn lanes, and in his reply, Minister Kaur revealed that between 2011 and 2015, there were a total of 14 fatalities and 319 injuries involving pedestrians and cyclists being hit by right-turning vehicles at such junctions. I'm not aware of the latest figures since that period, but my accident surely was not the only one. In fact, in February this year, policewoman Madam Salima Mohammed was killed by a car turning right at such a junction in Shenton Way when the driver failed to keep a proper lookout. Clearly, such junctions that allow cars and people to cross simultaneously present distinct hazards. They require alertness and concentration on the part of everyone. But when we factor in that drivers, pedestrians and PMD riders may be increasingly distracted by their mobile devices, we have a veritable formula for disaster. The LTA has introduced various safety enhancements to such junctions, including traffic light timings that give pedestrians a head start in crossing the road, and silver zones where speed limits are lowered to cater to the large number of senior citizens in these areas. Such initiatives are indeed helpful, but I would like to urge the LTA to shorten the timeline for discontinuing these discretionary right-turn junctions from the projected 5 years so that more accidents and fatalities can be prevented. My accident left me with several important takeaways. The first is that we have a public transport system that prioritizes and invests in safety, of which we can be justifiably proud. The second is that we should consider whether public buses can be equipped with superior sensors to better alert drivers to the presence of pedestrians and other vehicles so as to avoid collisions as far as possible. The third takeaway is that in our Smart Nation efforts, urban analytics can be strategically marshaled to more accurately track vehicular and human traffic at all junctions, so that we can optimize traffic light timings to allow drivers and pedestrians to share the road efficiently, but also safely. With such analytics, we can better design junctions to allow for smooth-flowing traffic without increased cost to human lives. A well-functioning transport network is critical not just to our economy, but also to the well-being of our citizens, ensuring that people and places are connected seamlessly, but also safely. The Road Traffic Amendments Bill will notably introduce stiffer penalties for reckless driving that will encourage drivers to be more mindful and conscientious. In conclusion, Mr. Speaker, I strongly support this bill and further measures that will help to boost safety on our roads. Thank you.
Order. I propose to take a break now. I suspend the sitting and we'll take the chair at 4:25 p.m. Order. Order.